students into universities. So we've been running for about 40 years, and during that time we have sent many, many students from many countries all over Australia and even overseas to pursue their university education. So we are what we refer to as a pathway provider. Okay. Look here, just trying to get this to go. All right, so in the middle of July of 2020, due to COVID, we also started offering online programs. So every one of our programs we converted not just to online, because we're still teaching students face-to-face in the classroom. So what we did was we joined both programs. So the online students joined the students in the classroom from July 2020. Naturally, into Western Australia, we did not receive any students since COVID started. But the good news is the borders will be open on the 5th of February, so not much longer to wait for that. But because most of our programs start on the 1st of February this year, the good news is students can start studying with Canning online. So what they'll do is they'll study for however long it takes them to get their visa, or for their parents to feel comfortable to send their children over to Perth. So many institutions, just when they do online, they just get students to download lectures. We never do this. This is an interactive program. So the students who are doing it online, they actually get to know the other students in the classroom. They also get to know the other online students and the teachers. And this will be really good for when students do get their visas and their flight to come into Perth, because they'll just arrive, go into their accommodation. The next day they will be in the classroom with their friends that they already know. So it's really going to be a seamless process, basically, from leaving their own country to joining the other students. So the lessons are delivered using WebEx, which is like Zoom, but it is a platform that is supported by the Education Department. All the lesson and learning materials are put onto our learning management system called Connect. And as I mentioned before, these live and interactive classes give offshore students the opportunity to attend classes with onshore. You know, the agents and parents are constantly asking us, can they do their entire year 2022 online? And we would rather students come to Perth at some stage, because that's the idea of having an overseas education, is to have the overseas experience. We understand that parents are reticent and a little bit nervous about sending their children. So, you know, just maybe take a term or 6 months to make sure that they feel safe enough to come, and then start sending their children over. And we think that would be great, because then the students can meet up with the other students. Bearing in mind, you know, we have done full courses in all of our programs basically, and students have been very successful. So while they are doing online, they still do get that support from a care group leader. So we allocate a care group leader who is one of our advisors to answer any questions that students may have. Online students can also access additional assistance with English language through our literacy support officer. Okay, so at Canning College, we have a variety of programs actually. Bridging, Year 10, 11, WACE, West Australian University's Foundation Program, Certificate 4 and Diploma of Commerce. Now for Singaporean students, the most popular is Foundation, because Foundation is after a student has completed O-levels, they can come into the Foundation program. Certificate 4 and Diploma are also popular with Singaporean students, and I'll explain each of those programs in more detail a little bit later. So whenever we talk about a Year 10 and Year 11 program, that is normally because parents want their children to start early in the Australian education system. So because every country has different expectations for teaching and learning, and Australia is no different to that. So in Year 10, for example, we integrate science, technology, engineering, maths, okay, STEM subjects, and create students who become independent and critical thinkers. You know, we don't want students to just listen and regurge what they've heard. We basically want them to ask questions and to become really creative thinkers. So you have your typical subjects. It's a set program for year 10, English, maths, science, information technology, business studies, and electives. For students coming in from Singapore, almost always they do not need an IELTS or an English language testing. So we would ask for students to basically have completed the equivalent of year 9. So our intakes for year 10, we actually can take students in 4 times, not just twice, but 4 times, depending on what the student has already done. So if a student has completed part of the equivalent of year 10, they could come in a separate term, because each term is, they teach independent modules. So that works quite well. Year 11 is the beginning leading into foundation. So if you have a student, and we've had a few students from Singapore who haven't done particularly well in before they got into O levels. So we would then recommend that they come in and do year 11. So year 11, once again, you have compulsory English, you also have a compulsory maths subject, and then you choose 3 or 4 of the optional subjects. So these subjects lead directly into foundation or WACE year 12. So we also offer electives for year 11, such as art, dance, sport, music, and cooking. 2 entry points. So February, it's usually the 1st of February or around about that first week, and April. So the April is if the student doesn't need a full year program, that they've done some of the equivalent of year 11, but they're still not ready to progress into foundation. Now, the West Australian Universities Foundation program is the most popular, particularly with Singapore students, because during this program, you can this is your pathway to university. So if you've just finished O levels or perhaps N levels, even maybe 1 year of polytechnic, but you still cannot get directly into university, the foundation program is an excellent one for you. Singaporean students come into us with good English, so that makes their life a lot easier. So in 8 to 10 months, a student coming in from Singapore or many other countries can qualify to get into university the next year. So this is like, you know, doing A levels in 8 to 10 months. It's amazing how our students can get in so quickly. In fact, I had one Singaporean student when COVID was about to hit in March of 2020. And this student said, oh, the borders were closing for Western Australia. What should she do? And she was emailing me at 10 o'clock at night. I said, listen, get on that plane and get in here. And she did. She had to go into quarantine for 2 weeks. Then she went into the April foundation program, and she was our 2nd top student that year. And then within those 8 months, progressed into university. So she was always happy that she took that leap of faith and got over to Western Australia as quickly as possible. And now she is she has completed 1 year of university already last year. So with this foundation program, it was actually set up by the 4 West Australian universities. There's 3 entry points: January, April, mid-year. So January and April both finish in November, and they both cover the same amount of work. So April students need to be above average students, because this is a fast track program for those students. When I say January, it's normally right at the end of January or the beginning of February. This year it is actually the 1st of February. It is what we refer to as an academic foundation program, because there is an external examination for every subject. So every subject that you study other than English covers exactly the same syllabus as our national program, West Australian Certificate of Education. The external examinations are set by the Tertiary Institution Service Centre, which also oversees the examinations for the WACE certificate. The good thing about doing foundation is that you can package with a university. So say, for example, you want to do physiotherapy, for example, at Curtin University, you could get a visa that covers for 1 year at Canning College of doing foundation, and then the 4 years of physiotherapy. And that would be a 5-year visa in total. It also gives you ease of mind that you have a place in physiotherapy, which is very difficult to get into, as long as you achieve the required score. So in Foundation, West Australian University Foundation program, these are the subjects that are offered. Everybody has to do English language and Australian cultural studies. Now, I know that a lot of Singaporean students say, well, I don't need 9 hours a week, but this English program is really an excellent preparation for university. So to go into university, you need to know lots of things, not just how to write a good essay, but you need to know how to do in-text and end-text referencing. You need to be fully prepared to do an oral presentation in front of your peers. You need to be able to listen to audios, take notes, all these sort of things that we teach you. So also to do research and not plagiarize. You know, all of these skills take a lot of work, and that is always given to you during the English language and Australian cultural studies. Excellent program. Then out of the optional electives, you choose 3 or 4 subjects depending on what you want to do at university. So if you want to do a business course, you have business type subjects like accounting, business management, economics. If you want to do science, you have chemistry, human biology, physics, psychology. There's 3 maths. Maths application is the easiest, methods more difficult. Specialists must be done in conjunction with methods, and that is the most difficult. There's computer science, also fits into both areas. You will always have an advisor who will help you choose your subjects depending on where you want to go. So this was a bit of a snapshot of our success in 2021 of the top 30 foundation students. So we had 82 last year who did this, 62 were online students and 20 were onshore students. So the nationality of the top 30 students, foundation students, 9 came from Hong Kong and 9 came from Singapore. All right, so you can see here that our Singaporean students always do particularly well. 6 from Malaysia, 3 from Indonesia, 1 each from Korea, China and India. And then you can see a huge number of students choosing Curtin University. Curtin University this is because they're right next door to Canning College, and many students who want to go to Curtin, they will package with Canning College. But bear in mind, you can go to other universities in Western Australia, but also over east and even to overseas. So Murdoch University, out of the 30, keep remembering this is only out of 30, 5 went to Murdoch, 2 to University of Western Australia, 1 to RMIT in Melbourne, 1 to Sheridan in Western Australia, 1 went over to the USA, 1 to Germany. Still waiting on 4 responses, but you can see that the most popular university courses, physiotherapy and animal science at Murdoch. So looking overall at the results from 2021, because I want you to see that if you come to Canning College, you're a student who puts in the effort, you attend all your classes, whether that's online or onshore, that you will be successful and you will get into the university of your choice. So of the 82 students who sat the foundation exams in November of 2021, 58 were from January intake, 24 from April. January is always our biggest intake. 84% achieved a percentage score more than 53. Now, the foundation gives the results as a percentage, and then it is converted into an ATAR. An ATAR is a ranking that is required by Australian universities. So that percentage score of 53 is actually the equivalent of an ATAR of 70. So that gets you into almost every university. Okay, so 84% achieved that, which is excellent value. 65% achieved a percentage score above 60. and 60 is an ATAR of 80, and that is required by the University of Western Australia. University of Western Australia is one of the group of 8 universities, and therefore their scores are slightly higher than other universities. 21% achieved a percentage score above 75, which is an ATAR of 95, and 11% achieved an amazing percentage above 82, which is an ATAR of 98. So when students look in the prospectus to see the sort of degrees that they want to get into, they'll look at the ATAR requirement. And when you look at our scores here, you can see that coming to Canning College would help you achieve those sort of scores. So this map just shows you a quick indication of where you can go after coming to Canning College. So you can see that we are located in Western Australia on the left-hand side, the west side of Australia, and approximately 80% of our students do progress into one of the West Australian universities, which includes the University of Western Australia, Curtin University, Murdoch University, Edith Cowan University, and the University of Notre Dame, Australia. But they can also go to other states in Australia. And below this map, I've just included some of the recent universities that our students went to, but there are even many, many more. You can see that University of Adelaide, University of Queensland, Australian National University, University of Tasmania, University of Melbourne, University of Sydney, very popular universities with our students. And some of them have even gone over to the UK, the United States, Canada, or New Zealand. Certificate 4 is an easier form of Year 12. Okay, so, and it's only half a year. It's all business subjects in Certificate 4. So if you do Certificate 4, you are probably thinking about going into Canning College's Diploma of Commerce, but it can also get you into Curtin University or Murdoch University for some degrees, not all degrees. If they have prerequisites, you normally cannot use Certificate 4. That's when you would need to do foundation. But for some students, particularly students who have just completed national service, for example, so they are a little bit older, they feel like they've missed a couple of years, they might want to be on a really fast track to get into university. So they could do Certificate 4 at Canning College and then go on to diploma, then go on to second year university. Or they could go Certificate 4, 6 months, straight into university. So the subjects that you do, this will give you an indication of the sort of business subjects that you have. It's only 2 terms. For each term you do academic communication and maths, okay, both terms. And say in first term, you do those 2 plus computer science, accounting, economics. In the second term, you would do academic communication, maths, and legal studies, management and marketing. So it is a good program because it's what we refer to as competency-based. Competency-based means you just have to show that you are competent. There are no external examinations, and you do get the opportunity to do your assessments twice. So if you fail the first time, you have the opportunity to do it a second time. Same with exams and tests. The Diploma of Commerce, excellent value this is. It's the equivalent of first year Bachelor of Commerce or Business at the University of Western Australia, Curtin University, Murdoch University, University of Notre Dame. So if you do a Diploma of Commerce, you will remain in Western Australia. You don't use that to go over east, but you get to go into one of our excellent universities in Western Australia. And I've got the subjects for you after that, but basically you go from our diploma into second year business or commerce in one of those universities. The good news with this is it's a lot cheaper also than doing first year commerce at a university. So we have 2 streams, Curtin stream and UWA. The Curtin stream is, you can go to lots of universities, not just Curtin. UWA stream, you can also go to lots of universities, but to go into UWA in particular, you cannot do Curtin stream. So you can see the subjects, counting, business stats, introduction to finance, consumer behaviour, you only choose 2 of those, and then the compulsory ones are accounting, economics, marketing management, business information systems, and business law. It's a full year program. The UWA stream, very similar as well, but they have a couple of different units as well. Okay, so tuition fees. For year 10, 11 and foundation, 12, it's $23,500 Australian dollars, very similar to Singapore dollars. If you come in April for year 10 or year 11, 18,268. Where I have bridging programs are actually always doing part of year 10 to go into year 11 or part of year 11 to go into foundation. So they're, depending on how many terms they are, 2 terms, 12,500, 1 term, 7,359. Certificate 4 is $14,739, and the Diploma of Commerce is $25,000. When you consider that first year commerce at UWA, University of Western Australia, is $39,000. So that is a $14,000 reduction on their fees. So parents will often ask us, do you have any scholarships? Yes, we do, and they're all merit-based. So the main ones that parents are usually concerned with coming in from Singapore are the foundation scholarships, and they range from 3,000 up to 10,000. So a top student, a student who's getting A+ in O levels for every subject, every relevant subject, will be offered a 10,000. Your agent will tell you about putting in the scholarship application. Diploma of Commerce, because it is only 25,000, the top scholarship is 5,000, certificate 4 is 3,000. Or sister who've come to Canning College, or even a parent, we would give you 10% discount. Okay. Right, that's enough from me on this whole situation about Canning College. So if anyone has any questions, I'd really be happy to hear them. Otherwise, I will leave you with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Leila.
Thank you. And for all the students who have any questions for Lisa, can contact her and arrange a meeting. So she'd be able to address any questions you have. So just